Hi everyone! Today I'm going to be showing you a really cool interactive tool that you can use not only in a history classroom, but pretty much every other content area. The tool is called HSTRY and is an interactive timeline presentation tool that is free for anyone to use. I will be showing you how to use this tool in a social studies setting, but you can modify this for other content as well if desired. At the end of this video, I will show you an example of a timeline that I will be using in my classroom. This tool was created after the creators realized that there wasn't really a great timeline tool for either students or teachers. Timelines are very hard to do on a computer program in a way that is accurate, makes sense, or doesn't cost an arm or a leg. The following social studies writing standards are met by using this tool in the classroom. First, CCR Anchor Standard Number 1. Write arguments to support claims in an analysis of substantive topics or texts using valid reasoning and relevant and sufficient evidence. WHT 6-8.1. Write arguments focused on discipline-specific content. 1A. Introduce claims, acknowledge and distinguish the claims from alternate or opposing claims, and organize the reasons and evidence logically. 1B. Support claims with logical reasoning and relevant evidence, using accurate, credible sources and demonstrating an understanding of the topic or text. 1E. Provide a concluding statement or section that follows from and supports the argument presented. CCR Anchor Standard Number 2. Write informative explanatory text to examine and convey complex ideas and information clearly and accurately through the effective selection, organization, and analysis of content. WHST 6-8.2. Write informative, explanatory texts, including the narration of historical events, scientific procedures, experiments, or technical processes. 2A. Introduce a topic clearly, previewing what is to follow. Organize ideas, concepts, and information into broader categories. Include formatting, graphics, and multimedia when useful to aiding comprehension. 2B. Develop the topic with relevant, well-chosen facts, definitions, concrete details, quotations, or other information and examples. 2C. Use appropriate and varied transitions to create cohesion and clarify the relationships among ideas and concepts. CCR Anchor Standard Number 6. Use technology, including the internet, to produce and publish writing and to interact and collaborate with others. WHST.6-8.6. Use technology, including the internet, to produce and publish writing and present the relationships between information and ideas clearly and effectively. This also specifically works with the AASL standards. 1. Inquire, think critically, and gain knowledge. Students have to think about the concepts and how to present it, and make those inquiries on their own. 2. Draw conclusions, make informed decisions, apply knowledge to new situations, and create new knowledge. Students cannot do an assignment with this tool with just the knowledge in their brain. They have to apply it to the entire situation. 3. Share knowledge and participate ethically and productively as members of our democratic society. Students have to cite their sources and share their knowledge effectively. 4. Pursue personal and aesthetic growth. Students have to organize their information in a way that students can easily follow. We all know how to spell history, but the creators revolutionized this timeline idea on Twitter, which is how they got the name. Pretty cool that one Web 2.0 tool would lead to the creation of the other. This tool utilizes all of these standards when creating student work, and specific content standards can be addressed depending on the actual assignment. It can be used as a presentation tool to showcase student learning, or it can be used to introduce a concept. Some teachers use it as a study guide tool or a unit review. The final product that I'm using for my class is a chapter review and a way for students who are absent to still have access to the information that was presented in class. Today, I will show you how to create an account, set up a class, create a timeline, and view a final product. Let's get started. To sign up, all one needs to do is click the Sign Up button in the upper right corner. At this point, you can select whether you are an educator, student, or personal. The great thing about HSTRY is that it can directly link to a Google or Edmodo account. If your district uses Google Apps for Education, your students will already have a login for this tool. No username or passwords to remember. If you do not have a Google or Edmodo account, you will have to fill out the information in the boxes below. As I have a Google account through my district, I can sign up right away. Once you have logged in as a teacher, you will see where you can create a class or go directly to a class. Creating a class is as simple as typing in a name, a subject, and a grade. Once you have created a class, you can have your students join by entering the code on the bottom right of your screen. In this class, you can see student submitted timelines, student names, and the timelines you have shared with your class. It is important to know that the free version only allows you to see 200 submitted timelines. If you had the paid versions, there is no limit. You can always view a timeline that is public. The 3 versions of this tool are the Basic, Premium, and Unlimited. There is no limit on the amount of students you can add at the basic price, or the basic plan, and schools and districts can get a discounted bulk price. Let's create our own project. This is what a new project looks like when you open it. It gives you the chance to select a title or a banner image if you want. The great thing about this tool is that there is no limit to the amount of information that you can have. Students who want to create a project with a lot of information have the opportunity to, whereas students who want to showcase a lot of images can do that as well. Students who have created visuals about the chapter or unit can link into this directly as well. One button you may notice is the Collaborate button, which allows others to edit your timeline. The basic version only allows 2 students to edit one timeline. The unlimited version allows multiple collaborators. Each time you want to add something to the timeline, you click this little plus sign. Here we have a lot of different things that we can choose from. The first type of item that you can add is a text box. In this text box, students can add a paragraph or 2. Text can be bolded, underlined, italicized, and you can also add bullet points and numbers. When putting dates into a timeline, this would probably be the best tool to use. The next is the image tool. You can upload an image, or you can link directly to an image file online. The great thing about this is you can still type a description after it, or you could add credit. For example, you can add the URL of the picture or the MLA citation if required. You can also add a YouTube video or MP3 audio. They will be played directly in the history timeline, so there is no need for students to go to a different page. Everything is right here for students to access and use. The Did You Know feature is a fun way to showcase specific information. This is what I call the fun fact part of the assignment. You can also add images for a visual fun fact. There are also opportunities for quiz questions. These can be multiple choice or drag and drop. You can add an optional response when the question is correct. I personally suggest adding these optional answers so students know for a fact that they got the answer right. When we look at the example of a timeline, I will show you what it looks like. One other cool feature is the forum question. This is a great way to encourage student discussion. You can have the question posted and have students respond on a different tool or on paper if you do not want students to comment on everything. In order for students to comment on the actual timeline itself, the timeline must be part of a class. Once you want to move on to a new topic, you can always add a new heading. If you are doing a chapter review, for example, it might be a great opportunity for a subheading within the timeline. Or, if you are comparing 2 different civilizations, it would be a great way to break this up into different parts. Finally, at the bottom, you can add a conclusion. I like to add this so that way the topic can be easily wrapped up. You also can easily move things around by selecting this button and dragging and dropping. Now let's look at my final project. Within my version of this timeline, I have added all the features, so let's take a look through them. First, I can share it very easily, as well as add it to my classes. This opens up a drop-down menu where you can easily select the classes. Once it has been added to a class, students can comment on everything on the timeline and it will be linked to their account. Unless you have shared it with the class, a student cannot comment on it. We can see a heading, text box, images, did you know, quiz questions, videos, and forum questions. This timeline is in a chapter review, so there are no dates. As you can see, I have split up the different sections with headings. One other important feature is that you can add links directly into the timeline, so students can click to open in a new window or tab if you want. In my conclusion, I have actually added a document for students to create their own timeline. In this case, I would have students look through my review, then follow these directions to create their own. This is not required, but I found that this would be a great way to showcase the tool while also getting students interested in it. If we scroll back up to the very top, we can see an Explore button. This button will take us to staff and teacher or student created resources. Some are free, which are very clearly labeled. You can find timelines for many different subject areas that either come directly from history, or you can see other created resources. For example, a search for math brings up items that could be used in a math class. Also at the top is a help button for tech help and site navigation help. The site is very user-friendly, so almost anyone could use it if they want. And a lot of help is done on an actual timeline for continuity purposes. All in all, this timeline site can be modified for many different content areas and is a great way for students to show what they know. I hope you enjoyed this video and you use history in your classroom for an engaging, awesome experience. This history screencast is licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution Share Alike 4.0 International License.